Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, the show that takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible.
Welcome to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. Hello, happy Easter, happy long weekend. Whenever you're listening to this episode, I hope you had a safe and nice long weekend. Where I am, the sun has been shining, so that's definitely a bonus. But I hope you were able to connect with some family over video or phone, or if you're lucky enough to have immediate family that you're living with right now, and hopefully you had dinner and hung out and tried to relax a little bit. Ignore all the chaos that's going on around us in the world. Hope you're able to forget about that for a bit. But with all that being said, and just with the long weekend and everything, it just kind of inspired me to do an episode just about coping with anxiety, specifically due to COVID-19 and the global pandemic that we're going through right now. I know it's been a little bit, we are maybe getting a little bit more comfortable with being inside our houses and just all the big adjustments. I don't know if you can ever get quite comfortable with the adjustments. I guess I shouldn't say it like that. But, I think we're getting a little bit more used to it. Handling it maybe better sometimes, but we don't know what the future is going to bring. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or the next day or in a month from now or a year from now. And there's always going to be that uncertainty, and I feel like anxiety levels can just continue to spike up with the longevity of this, if it just keeps going on longer and longer. I feel like anxiety levels can raise because, it's scary and it's real and we don't know what's going to happen next. I just wanted to talk about, kind of anxiety specifically surrounding the global pandemic and just how to kind of cope with that. Hopefully it can help some people just cope with the chaos a little bit easier. It's first thing I want to say is that it's just so normal to feel anxious right now, especially, if you've never experienced anxiety before, and you have experienced it now. That is completely normal for the people that, have anxiety or that have dealt with panic attacks or anything back in their past, and they're continuing to feel it during this time. That's completely normal. Everything is just, people react to this situation completely differently. But I think something that we can all sort of relate to is just the fact of it's the little bit of anxiousness we get of just the uncertainty, the unknown, because we don't really know what's going on, of course, right? And I think it's fair to say that everyone's scared of, what could happen. And that's why I want to talk about anxiety today and just hopefully give you some coping mechanisms. This is just a really stressful and unusual time. So we can't be hard on ourselves for feeling stressed out, for feeling anxious. We can't be hard on ourselves for just, not feeling like ourselves maybe fully because of everything going on. We haven't really gone through anything like this, and everyone's adjusting and everyone's trying to navigate their way through it the best that they can. And so I think just having coping mechanisms for anxiety, these can the stuff that I'm going to talk about can definitely relate to all different types of anxiety from different situations. But just with this, the global pandemic, I guess, just inspired me to talk about anxiety. And it's something that so many people suffer with. It's things that anxiety is something that people suffer with and they don't even realize it. And then I think something like this happens, as crazy as like a global pandemic, and maybe you realize, oh wow, maybe I have had anxiety like this whole time, or maybe you're just starting to get anxiety now and you're starting to kind of understand it better. The thing is you get to know yourself and you have to just know what works for you. So some of the stuff I'm going to talk about might not work for everybody, but it really might work for you. It might work for a couple people, 10 people, 1,000 people, I don't know. But I think these are some basic things that we can just do and we can try to hold on to help us every step of the way. So let's just jump right into it. The first thing I want to say too is we have to know all of our facts. I'm saying that, we're getting anxiety because we don't know the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen next, but there is things that we can know. We can educate ourselves properly. We can know what's going on around the globe in different countries. We can understand just the whole concept a little bit better. And so, of course, to do that, we have to keep up with the news, and social media is flooding with things all over the place, just news, and it's very, very easily to get sucked into this news vortex where you have to find out everything, you have to learn everything, and then you read the next article, and the next article, and the next article, and you're sucked into this, obsession. And I think it's very easy to get obsessed with this because it affects all of our lives so drastically. So how could you not be interested in knowing what's going on and wanting to know every single bit about it? And I think it's good to educate ourselves. I think we should educate ourselves. I think that can really stop some anxiety by just kind of understanding the whole concept. But we have to find that line between being sucked into that vortex of article after article after article and just knowing what you need to know. Some people want to know less than others. Some people don't want to read it themselves. Some people just want to read it all day long. And it's just different for everybody. For me personally, I haven't actually been sucked into many articles at all. I've been keeping in touch with my roommates and my friends and family and conversations like that. And I've tried to find my balance by just hearing about things through them, just through, FaceTime and video chat to my family that live elsewhere and just the people that I live with. And I still, I do daily things still. I still have life to go on. So I talk to people, and that's how I keep up with my things, with the information. And I find that that's really working for me because I'm not able to be sucked into all this media. The one thing that's really easy to get sucked into if you're not even reading like the news articles is the social media aspect of it all. Of course, there's a bunch of news articles and stuff on social media. You'll see, headlines and stuff on Instagram and Twitter for sure. Twitter's I get a lot of information from Twitter too. That can be easily sucked in. See, there's different platforms that might suck in different people. Like for me, Twitter, because I'm more of a social media person and I use Twitter and Instagram and all those things as a daily thing for myself. And when I see something about the global pandemic, and then I click on that, and then that's where I can get sucked in, whereas other people might just get sucked into watching the news, listening to the radio, reading articles on their phone. But social media is really common right now, and there's not just news, but there's memes, and there's stories, and there's all these different, kind of, I don't want to say categories around it, but people are talking about it. Of course they are, and you can't really go anywhere on the internet and not run into it. You're going to hear about it. It's happening all over the world. And so it's hard to stay away from it, and it's hard to not get sucked in. But I think if we can find that balance of not getting fully sucked into our phones and to the news and knowing every single piece of detail, that can be really healthy for us. We need to find that distance and that kind of disconnection from it, I guess. In a way, we're all very, very connected. Obviously, it's affecting all of us, but if we can find that space, we can create this space to just try to relax and find a little bit of, normal life and a little bit of routine, and I'm going to jump into that later, but we just have to find that comfortable distance between knowing too much, knowing enough, and staying sane throughout the whole process. So try, like for me, I just keep in touch. If I do see an article that I will randomly click on an article, don't get me wrong, when I see it passing through when I'm on social media, just on the internet, I definitely have read things, but I try to keep my things to a minimum, and I just talk to my friends and family and just see how they're doing, and my dad always fills me in on everything, so I count on him. But the thing is find what works for you. Another good tip is to not wake up and check the news right away. Like, try to give yourself some space, in the morning. Wake up, have your morning routine. Don't, as soon as you roll out of bed, start checking the news. That's not the best way to start off your day. Maybe start it after breakfast, after, you sat down, you hung out. Okay, let's check out what's going on. Or even at night too, try not to get sucked into it at night, because if you are sucked into it at night and you're not getting good sleep, and that causes more stress and anxiety. So if you want to check it, maybe set boundaries for yourself. I can check the news, I can read these articles between X and X times during the day, and then you just stick to that, and I think that can really help you balance out that vortex sucking you into the news or not. Yeah. Alright, so stay tuned. It's time for a little bit of a break. When we get back, I'm going to jump into some more coping mechanisms, having a plan, just exploring self-management strategies, all of that kind of stuff. So we'll be right back. We've always been told to never judge a book by its cover. But I think we are all a little bit guilty of searching up a company or a product online and judging it based on what it looks like. So if you yourself are an entrepreneur, small business, startup company, you're probably trying to think of the best personalized logo, website design, ad campaign, business card that's really going to represent your company and your product. So this is where Design Crowd comes in. Design Crowd's a website with more than 750,000 designers that you can reach out to from all over the world, and they will help you come up with the perfect custom design. Doesn't matter what it is. Ad campaign, business card, website, Facebook banner. They do everything. And since you are a Life and Happiness listener, you can head over to designcrowd.com/lifeandhappiness or enter the promo code LifeandHappiness and receive up to $150 off your first design project. Welcome back to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Okay, so let's jump into some self-management strategies that can help you with your anxiety during this whole craziness. I just keep calling it chaos and craziness because I can't find any other words for it. I don't know how else to describe it. Okay, so the first thing that we should talk about is mindfulness. I have talked about mindfulness in lots of episodes, just being fully aware of yourself, of your surroundings, of your feelings, your emotions, how things are affecting you, just being mindful. And there's definitely a lot of ways that we can try to connect to being mindful, and like meditation and yoga, and there's mindfulness meditation. If you can meditate and that's your thing, meditate. If you know nothing about meditation, I highly suggest it. It's something that I'm trying to get into. I'm having a very hard time getting into it because I just feel like I can't sit still for that long. Doesn't matter. I also have a whole episode on meditation to give you some tips and advice on different types of meditation that might work for you. And I do talk about mindfulness meditation. And it's just being aware of everything, of yourself, how things are affecting you, how you're feeling, like just really being connected and present. And if we can stay present, we can stay grounded, and that can lower our anxiety levels. So practice mindfulness. I've also seen so many different things that you can mindfulness could literally be, you could be practicing mindfulness standing in the line at a grocery store. Just, you have to be able to connect with your body and yourself and just feel present. It's just being completely aware of everything. Sounds weird, but it can be really hard to get into that state, but once you do and you can find that, then you can literally do it in places like, you can drop into mindfulness meditation, and you can meditate in the grocery store lineup, like, if you just need to be present and connected. So I highly suggest practicing mindfulness right now and just fully understanding how things are affecting you. I talk about journaling a lot with mindfulness and being aware and stuff. I think that for me, journaling helps because I write down things that I'm feeling. I write down how things are affecting me, and that helps me be mindful. It helps me be aware. It helps me understand myself and my situation that I'm in. And so I always suggest writing things down. Yoga, meditation, like, there are so many free online yoga classes right now. It's crazy. We have to take advantage of things like this because yoga studios are shut down, fitness studios are shut down, and there's so many places that are doing free online classes, or there's so many YouTube videos, like, social media is blowing up with at-home movement. Not even just workouts, yoga, meditation, at home, anything, like, it's all over social media. Find a video that works for you and do it. It can just help you be present and just aware of yourself, aware of your body, connected to your body. Being connected to your body right now is another huge thing. We can't separate, we have to be physical and be running and be exercising, and we can't mentally healthy as well. It connects one and one. So we have to make sure that we're moving and we're doing yoga and we're going for walks and we're doing at-home workouts if you want to do that. And, getting up and just moving your body can help you connect to it. That can help you be mindful, be more aware of yourself. It all kind of comes full circle. So, explore different kind of self-management strategies like those things, mindfulness, yoga, meditation, just really being present and aware. I've said that a million times, but that can really just calm your anxiety, bring you down, because you're just so comfortable with where you're at, you're present, you're just, there's no surprises, there's no stress, it's just, you're here, and you're dealing with it, and it's okay. I touched about social media and stuff before the break, and social media right now is not just the thing that's sucking us in. News is not just the thing that's sucking us in, but our devices and cell phones in general. This can cause so much anxiety. Constantly seeing all the news articles, seeing all these things, memes, even if they're silly and trying to cheer you up, it's still, like, you're still absorbing all of it all the time. It's like you're consuming too much of it. We're consuming too much on our devices, and we're laying around and, we've spent so much more time sitting in front of the TV, on our phones, on our computers, because we've, a lot of people have run out of things to do. Life isn't as busy anymore right at this moment. And so we get sucked into our devices, and it's not just news articles, it's everything. And we have to try to step away from technology and devices and move and go outside, or just, not even, just hang out, talk to the people in your household, FaceTime people, video chat, whatever you can do, and just get away. I guess video chat and FaceTime, you have to use your devices, but it's not about, you don't have to, you're connecting with people by doing that. You're not being sucked into a silly game or more news articles or social media posts or all these different things, because too much technology can take over our feelings and our emotions, and it can spike our anxiety. So try to get away from devices, try to get away from your phones, find that space between social media and the news and just your devices in general. Sleep with your phone in a different room if you're really having troubles. Set boundaries again, set times that you can be on your phone. That's always helpful. Just try to redirect your energy to a different area, redirect your energy to other things, write, draw. Bring out your artistic side if you can play an instrument or, something like that. Exercise your mind, exercise those kind of things. Gets you away from your devices, gets you moving, doing other things. Bring out your creative side. Go, paint, do something, go go outside. If you can go outside and you can enjoy your walks in a safe distance from other people, I highly suggest going outside and having a walk. You just have to redirect your energy in different areas. If you can use this time to, like, you know, maybe you're like been working on a book, you've been writing a book, maybe you can buckle down and write your book, or maybe you can do something that you've always wanted to do that you can do from your household. Like if you always wanted to, I don't know, like try to do something on social media. You've always wanted to post some of your photography photos, or maybe you've always wanted to do photography. And so maybe you should set up your cat in front of the window and take multiple pictures of your cat and post them up online and see what happens. Redirect your energy into different things that could, you know, further better your life after all of this is over. And that can help, you know, redirect your anxiety, because you're directing it in areas and putting all of that energy, whether it's negative or positive, you're putting it into something good, and it's going to all turn positive, and it's all going to generate good energy. And who knows, you might find a whole new career at the end of all of this. Who knows what will happen later on, but right now we can just practice on redirecting our energy into the places that are going to better us and the places that are going to fulfill us the most, and, you know, that will distract us in a healthy and creative way. Exercise your minds, you know. Of course, always, always, always find a way to connect. I say FaceTime, call, talk to family and friends. Always connect with people as much as you can during this time. A lot of us are just alone, completely by themselves, or just with one or two people in their households, or whatever it is. Phone your friends and family, especially this long weekend, and, like, you know, everyone usually goes away for the weekend, goes to their vacation home, has big family dinners. Like, so many things are different this year about Easter and about this whole, like, the long weekend right now. So use this time to connect with people. Like, use this time to reach out to an old friend who you haven't talked to in a while. Catch up. You got time right now to talk. Talk on the phone, you know, and don't just text or send, you know, little messages. Like, call someone, communicate with someone, and have a real conversation that's gonna make you feel good, distract you, catch up with an old friend, meet a new friend. There's, like, so many things online these days you can do. I've seen, like, virtual pubs and virtual, like, hangouts that you can go to with, like, strangers, as if you're going to, like, a bar. Like, go do something like that. I know it might feel weird, but we're all in the same boat, and so we're all kind of trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to connect with each other, and so even if you're done talking to your family on FaceTime every day, try to go meet someone on one of these virtual pubs. I don't know. Just connect, communicate, you know, make sure you're not holding yourself locked up in your room and just not talking to anyone, sucked into your device, right? We gotta redirect our energy and move it to places that are gonna better us, and they're gonna keep our brains healthy and moving during this really difficult and struggling time for so many people. The more that we can redirect our energy and connect with other humans and connect with people that we love and that love us, our anxiety is automatically just going to drop down, because we're going to feel comfortable and at home and just better all around. You kind of forget about all the chaos when you feel connected to people, and when you're laughing over FaceTime, telling stories, and making the most out of this crazy situation that we're all in. Okay, it's time for another break. But when we get back, I'm going to talk more about some tips on just coping with all this anxiety and all of this extra pressure and stress that we're dealing with right now. So stay tuned. Not all of us can think off the top of our heads the best creative design for something that we really care about. Especially when we've put so much time and effort into it. We want it to be perfect, but we want it to be custom and just us, you know? So DesignCrowd allows you to develop your logo, your website design, business cards from creative minds all around the world at such an affordable price. You know, once you put out your description of what you're wanting, creative minds just start sending you ideas. You get to pick your favorite one, confirm the payment, and it's yours. A custom creative design just for you that represents the company and what you're all about. People do judge a book by its cover. Don't forget. So head over to designcrowd.com/lifeandhappiness or enter the promo code lifeandhappiness. You will be able to receive up to $150 off your perfect design project. It's custom and it's just for you. Go check it out. Life and Happiness podcast. Welcome back. I am Alyssa Jo. All right, we're talking all about dealing with the craziness and the chaos that's going on around us, and I'm going to call it craziness and chaos until it's over, because that's just all I can describe it as in my mind. All right, so talking about finding ways to connect and exploring different self-management strategies. Having a plan is a really great idea to manage anxiety, and you're probably like, what do you mean? How am I supposed to have a plan? We don't know what's happening tomorrow. We just talked about this for the past 20 minutes. What are you talking about? The thing that I mean with a plan is, we don't know what's going to happen next, but we can prepare for different situations, can help a lot of people cope with their anxiety. If you have to prepare for self-isolation, you don't know what's going to happen if you're going to be in quarantine for 2 weeks or something like that. Prepare for that, so you don't feel stressed out if a situation like that happens. For other people, they might not be able to prepare for something like that because preparing for it, gives them more anxiety. They rather just buckle down and get it done when it has to be done, or whatever the case is. But having a plan for those things, I think, is really smart. If you can, and that doesn't cause you anxiety itself. When I say have a plan as well, write a to-do list every single day. The only things that we can control is what we're going to do that day. If we're going to wake up and we're going to have positive thoughts and we're going to think positively about ourselves and everything's going to be okay, and we're going to distance ourselves from our phones and all the news reports, and we're going to spend time with our we decide to FaceTime our friends and family and spend time with the people in our household and go for a walk. And those are the things that we can control, is waking up that day and what you're going to do. Write a to-do list and do that list. That is something that you can control. That is something that you can plan. You can plan for the next day of, okay, I got to get this, and this done, and check off your list, and start adding creative things to it and get creative with your list and have fun with it. But by having that and just focusing on what we can control, can really limit our anxiety for everything that we can't control. Because we're putting our energy into those positive things that we can control. It's okay, I can control waking up today and going for a run. I can, control making dinner for my roommates tonight. I can control, deciding to learn how to paint or learn the guitar or something like that. Picking up the instrument I haven't picked up in years. Whatever the case is, you can control those things for that day, and so focus on that and make that plan. Always be self-compassionate during this time. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, it's really, really normal to feel anxious and uncomfortable and just stressed out and worried about this whole situation. It's so, so normal. So have self-compassion and take care of yourself and practice self-love and self-care and focus on you and how you're doing and that mindfulness and being aware of you. So put your time into the things that are going to better you later, and take care of yourself during the whole process. Don't be, down on yourself if you didn't get everything done that day because you just felt kind of down and you felt tired and stressed. That's okay. Show yourself some compassion and understanding and just pick yourself up the next day and keep going. If you have an anxiety attack or you feel really anxious one day, let yourself, deal with it and try to cope with it. But then the next day, have the positive mindset that you'll wake up and you'll get your list done and you'll move on. But just practice self-love and self-care and self-compassion. Keeping up with your sleep routine and just your sleep routine and a routine in general can really help cope with anxiety and everything going on. Have a routine. If you're so used to a routine, waking up, going to work, going to the gym, going home, making dinner, blah, 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 do those, you can't do those things, but make a routine that you can do. If you have to probably adjust your entire routine, that's okay. Adjust it, make the adjustments so that you can later, benefit from just that normalcy of a routine. Routines are so crucial to helping your anxiety. Then you're not giving yourself time to be sucked into the vortex of social media and news and stress and all these things. You can actually just focus on you and the things that you need to get done. And making sure you're getting enough sleep helps anxiety so much. If you are tired and you're not sleeping well, that is not going to do anything for you at all. You are just going to feel more anxious and more stressed out. If you're up at night and you can't sleep because you're anxious and you're stressed out, get out of bed. Laying there and staying up all night, just worrying is not going to do you any good. You're not going to get any sleep. You're going to feel like crap tomorrow, and you're just stressing yourself out more. So get up and try to, like, move the energy somewhere else. Try to paint a picture, or, do something off your device. I know you can't really go for a walk in the middle of the night. Well, maybe you can. Maybe nice neighborhood, you can go for a walk or something like that. But try to redirect your energy to something. Like I said, paint. If you can, avoid TV and avoid your phone and stuff like that, that would be good. If you can write or do something creative, just get into your body a little bit more. It might help you feel tired later. But even just if you need to turn on a movie to distract yourself from that stress and anxiety, then do that. Don't keep yourself up all night. So focus on your sleep and your routine. Focus on what you control. Make that to-do list. Wake up and just focus on what you have to get done that day, and then just keep repeating that. Wake up the next day and check off your to-do list. Keep that routine up. Reach out for help if you feel like you need it. It is really, really hard on our mental health right now, to be isolated, and all just the changes and the uncertainty. It's scary for so many people for so many different reasons. So if you need help, don't be ashamed to reach out for help. There's so many resources online. There's so many different things that you can do within this. You can call friends and family. You can call doctors. You can go online. There's so many different resources. There's numbers that you can call just to talk to somebody. So make sure you reach out if you get to the point of feeling like, you're just you don't know what else to do. It's just reach out to people, call people, connect to people. Even if you don't, want to talk about it, talking in general about anything really, really helps. It's a good outlet just to have a conversation with somebody, even if it's not about all your stress and anxiety or anything going on about how you're feeling. Distract yourself with conversations and connection with people, and you'll feel so much better afterwards. A lot of people that have suffered with mental illness before this, I'm sure, use socializing and friends as an outlet to get out of your head and to get moving and to move on from things and try to, feel better. But we can't do that right now. But we still can FaceTime people, and we still call them, and we can still be connected, or we can call a helpline, or, we can still talk to people. So continue to talk to people. Just because other things have closed and stopped doesn't mean that communication has to stop. Communication to help your anxiety is so crucial. So try to communicate, talk. Also try to refrain from, statements like I'm stuck inside, and change those to things like I can really focus on me and my home and things that I want to do here. Maybe you need to do renovations. Maybe you're able to focus on something you haven't had the time to in your house. You get to paint the house or something like that. That's really awesome if you have that and I've been dying to do renovations. Might as well do them now. Cool. Do them, and if you're able to do them in the time. But switching your mindset from I'm stuck to look what I can do now here. Look, how can I make this situation better? So we have to try to flip our mind and try to get that positive and just redirect the energy by changing our words around and finding that just that new way to word it can send, the right messages to the rest of your body to think positively and to be happy and to feel good. All right. Well, I hope that this gave you some kind of coping mechanisms or some kind of idea to just help you feel better during these crazy, chaotic times. Well, I hope that some of these tips and things that I've said in today's episode is going to help you cope with all the craziness and chaos that is going on right now around us. So I just want to say stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourself. Thank you so much for listening to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. I appreciate you listening and being here. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button to like and follow us on social media and leave a 5-star review. I look forward to next time. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find the show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows. From the GSMC Podcast Network, from sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast.